Hey, Grievers and Groovers. How's it going? Happy Wednesday. Happy February 21st. Does that mean February's almost over? Does that mean I have to pay rent again, March 1st? It doesn't feel like the time is going by. It's crazy. I hope you guys are having a good hump day and wherever you may be tuning in from. And as you're tuning in, I would love to know where you're tuning in from. But I had to tell a story about my Uber driver yesterday, and then we'll get into some griefy talk, some death positive chat. I went to a social media conference yesterday downtown in the beautiful Los Angeles Times building. I'd never been down there, and it's gorgeous. So I took an Uber down there because the parking and stuff is crazy. And if you know anyone from Los Angeles, they will tell you that they rarely go downtown. Downtown is like this whole other country that nobody's ever goes to, really. I mean, I go down there for shows. I was just there for a concert. Who did we go see? Oh, I saw the Killers at the Staples Center. They were fantastic. But anyway, so I got in the Uber, and I'm an extrovert, if you can't tell already. And I like to make friends wherever I go, because friends are just strangers you haven't met yet. Strangers are friends you haven't met yet. I also am working on very little sleep because one of my best friends was working in the area and she decided to spend the night, and I rarely get to see her because she's a mom of 3 and is so busy. No, mom of 4, so busy with her life, and she ended up coming over and spending the night at 11. And of course we had to gab until 2 or 3 a.m. But anyway, I digress. Getting it together, I was in the Uber, and my Uber driver was talking about his kids and how they're just driving him crazy. They're in their 20s and they live at home, and we were just talking, and he's like, I don't know if you know, I mean, I can't do the accent, but he's like, I don't know if you know what Armenians are like. And I said, no, not really. I mean, I lived, next door to a family of Armenians, and they just loved to party, and they just had like family gatherings and cookouts, and, it was really fun. And I said, no, not really. And he goes, we chain our children to us. We chain them. They are with us forever. But he was saying it in a bad way. So that made me laugh. And because he was lamenting. And then we started talking about, what I do for a living. And I explained what Good to Go was. And he was just like silent. We had been talking happily back and forth, having a beautiful dialogue. And then literally I tell him that, I run an unconventional advanced planning company, and I guide people through their end of life paperwork while they're young and healthy. And it was just like, and so I was just like, and he goes, that is very depressing. And I said, no, it's not. I mean, it can be, but I said, you've got to look at it this way. If you're getting your paperwork together while you're young and healthy, then that prevents the awkwardness down the line. Or if you do end up getting diagnosed with a terminal illness or, whatever, it's just going to save you all of that heartache. So it might be slightly uncomfortable now, but imagine how uncomfortable it's going to be if you don't do anything. And I could tell he wasn't really buying it. And so I was asking him questions, and his name was Henrik. And I said, okay, Henrik, I said, who takes care of the bills in your family, your wife or you? And he's like, my wife sees nothing. And I said, okay, so what if suddenly you got hit by lightning in an hour and you didn't go home? Would your wife know what to do with any of the bills? He's like, no, she knows nothing. There's no way she would know. And I said, okay, well, do you want to leave her with all of those questions? I said, she's going to be distraught over you dying. And in her grief, you're basically making her try to figure out the bills when she's had no hands-on experience with them whatsoever. I said, so you need to write down, you know, which bills you have, their customer service number, if you have an online account, if you have an online account for that certain bill, you know, what is the password? And I said, you know, what do you want your kids to have of your stuff, you know? And he's just like, I'm not rich. I don't own a lot of things. And I said, well, we're riding in your car right now. Do you own your car? And he goes, yes. And I said, what do you want done with your car? And he's like, well, I haven't thought about it. And I said, well, because you haven't thought about it, your family's going to have to think about it. So I basically talked him around at the end of the ride because we were stuck in rush hour traffic. And even though it's only, 6 miles away from my house, it took an hour to get there because it was rush hour traffic. But we kind of, I feel like I made a little bit of headway with him, with good old Henrik, the Uber driver. But who knows? He asked for my business card, so I gave him one of my cards. And I said, I would love to get you and your family good to go, Henrik. I would love to come over there and get you and your huge Armenian family good to go. But it just made me laugh because he was just like, oh, I don't like to think about it. I don't want to think about it. And he said, when I die, that's it. I'll be dead. I don't care what happens. And I said, okay, I get it. That is a funny, you know, point of view, but don't leave your kids in the shit, you know, don't leave your loved ones completely overwhelmed just because you don't feel like talking about it. Hey, Kim, how's it going? Kim's sending me a little laughy, happy face. Yeah, so who knows if I changed his mind. I mean, these poor Uber drivers, I do have a 4.9 rating, though. Thank you, I'm a good customer. They're probably like, talks too much. You know, whenever I get an Uber pool, which is just when you drive with other people, you get a ride with other people. Besides yourself, I'm always like, hey, how's it going? My name's Amy. Let's be friends. And they're just like, oh, headphones on the phone. But anyway, it just, you know, Henrik, the Uber driver, is just one of those, what are you saying? Is one of those people that just doesn't think about advanced planning. And he kept saying through the whole ride, I'm old, I'm 67, I'm old. You know, and I said, you need it more than ever. You and your wife have to talk about it. And I said, do you want to be buried or cremated? And he was just like, well, I don't know, probably buried. And I said, there's a million questions with burial. You know, do you want a headstone? What do you want it to say? Do you want an obituary? You know, do you want a picture used? What do you want the obituary to say? What cemetery do you want to be buried at? Since you're obviously not home in Armenia, you know, you're here, or whatever, you know. And he was just like, oh, there's so many questions. And I was like, yeah, that's what I'm telling you. You're going to be dead. You're going to be all like chilling in the afterlife. And then your family's going to be tearing their hair out, cursing you. Anyway, I hope I got through. I know that I'm not very fun at parties because I won't shut up about advanced planning. Kim says, is that a bowling trophy? It is a bowling trophy. It's one of my dad's bowling trophies, and I love it so much. And it is from the 1970-71 series. And my dad got the high series, so he bowled a 671. And it still has his name on it, which I love. I love that. And I love it. And we always used to joke, it looks like he's standing on top of a little Reese's cup, just like the candy. But yeah, I have all of his bowling trophies. I've got 3 more in the bathroom. Oh no, it's all going horribly wrong. My little Abbey Road street sign just died. Okay, here we go. It's back to life. I'm a big fan of knickknacks. Empty wall space is my enemy. I want to be surrounded by stuff that I love, stuff that has meaning. You know, a great year. Was that when you were born by any chance? Yeah, I think it's important when you start to make your home, whatever that is, whether it's just a room or a bed sit or a studio apartment, you know, or, you know, wherever you are. I think it's really important to be surrounded by things that you love, things that have meaning, things that bring you joy. And I think Nate Berkus, the designer, said something like, your home should be a reflection of who you are and who you want to be. So there's like an aspirational aspect in it. So I have, I'm surrounded by tons of stuff that I love and I look at every day, and that I think about, and it makes me happy. I have a lot of stuff from my family who are dead, and you know, I actually, when I was really grieving hardcore, I had a friend come over and say, you just need to get out and maybe go get a 9-to-5 job somewhere instead of just being cooped up in your apartment surrounded by, you know, dead people things. And, oh, hey, Kat. Hey, Dawn from Lancaster, Ohio. I'm from Ohio. I'm from Dayton. Shout out. Buckeyes in the house. What were we talking about? I'm running on very little sleep. I don't know if you could tell my voice is slightly lower, slightly Demi Moore. But yeah, I'm so tie and just getting everything wrong. Oh, I have to tell you one more thing about the crazy Uber driver. After I got done talking to him, he said, I am going home and I will sit down and I will just cry after meeting you. I was like, don't do that. I said, don't cry because we're talking about your potential death. I said, be glad that you're alive. Be glad that you're not dead. Celebrate. That's a joyful thing. Have a drink, have a beer. I don't know if I convinced him. That just made me laugh. Because you know, I like to make people cry. What? That's crazy. I love that Ohio's in the house. So I also wanted to talk about today a little public service announcement about National Health Care Decisions Day, which is April 16th. And they're kind of celebrating all month and especially all that week. But I encourage all of you to get your advanced planning together, and I wanted to get your feedback. I was thinking about maybe, you know, if people order their departure files, the good to go departure files, I was thinking on April 16th doing a special live and kind of answering any questions that anybody has about them, you know, because a lot of people just buy the departure files without a consultation. So I was thinking about doing something like that, but I don't know if you guys would be interested in something like that. So let me know. Cat Allen says, crazy Uber driver, I missed a good story. It sounds like it's not that good. It's just, you know, we were in the car, and of course I have to bring up advanced planning, and he was just telling me all about that. But I basically inspired him to go home and cry. So you didn't miss anything, Kat, but I love it. I'm wearing, it's so chilly today in LA, and let me just say, I apologize in advance. Anyone anywhere not on the West Coast, they're like, really chilly, like 40 degrees? Yeah, that's really cold. And then the sun came out and it's like, you know, in the upper 50s. But for me, that's cold. For LA, that's really cold. And, you know, I grew up in Ohio. I get that it's not officially cold. I mean, I think that this weather is like shorts and sandals weather in Ohio, especially that first day that you get that's warm after the long, cold, lonely winter. And it just gives you a taunting glimpse of spring and summer ahead. And you're just like inundated with winter. I went back and visited Dayton a couple years ago around, I think it was March, and everybody was just over winter. Everybody, wherever you went, that's what everybody was talking about. You'd go to, you know, Walgreens. I'm like, oh, how are you doing today? Oh, this winter is killing me. You know, everyone was just like, we all hate our lives. It's so cold and gloomy and dreary. I'm like, gotta move to the West Coast and get the sun. But I'm so chilly because it's so unusual for LA to be cold. So I decided to put on my little flannel, I don't know, cardigan thing. And then a friend of mine, of course, he's a dude, he was like, nice bathrobe. And I was like, what? And he's like, it looks like my dad's bathrobe. And I'm just like, huh, wait. So does this look like, yeah, it does. It is kind of bathrobe-y. Oh, I've got my Dayton shirt on, my Ohio shirt on. And now I'm all paranoid. It's like, I used to love this because it's got like cute little tassels on the end, and it's like soft and warm. And, you know, I don't mind rocking the, you know, Kurt Cobain art teacher hippie look. But I do mind rocking the wear a bathrobe like dad's look. So I'm trying not to do that. But anyway, it's chilly. Hey, Beth. in Montana, that's Speedo weather, right? Oh my gosh, I don't want to know what it's like in your household. I don't want to see the Speedo. Tell Bob to put it away. Kat says it's 28 with rain and sleet all day today. We're frozen here too. You're more frozen than me. So I will try to send you some sunshiny vibes taken from the window, sending it out to you. I also wanted to give you guys a heads up. There's some YouTube videos just about advanced planning stuff. And then I did last year, actually. So there's a couple informational videos up on my YouTube channel. And I think I posted a YouTube video the other day, and there's other videos there. But if you guys want to check those out, I was starting to do them every week, and then I just got too griefy. And then I was just like, I don't have the energy to do that. I don't have the energy to put eye makeup on, you know? So I stopped doing them, and then kind of came back around and started doing Facebook Lives instead, because it's a lot easier than making videos on YouTube. But man, when you're grieving, you just feel so like heavy. Like it's almost like you're drugged, you know? It's just like the Grim Reaper just comes and like gives you this drug, and you're just like, every limb weighs 900 pounds. And I joked in the speech that I gave a speech at a women's conference, and it's on the same YouTube channel. It's what I learned from grief and lessons I learned from my parents dying and stuff like that. And I was really grieving hardcore at that time, and it had only been a few months after my dad had died, and I just literally wanted to be carried around like Cleopatra. I just wanted someone, I wanted a bed on wheels, and I could just be wheeled to the grocery and wheeled back, you know. I wanted like a team of, you know, hot shirtless dudes feeding me grapes. Does that have anything to do with grief, or is it just because I'm single? I don't know. Anyway, putting it out there. I wanted to, Kat, I can't remember where you're tuning in from. Was it Oklahoma? I can't remember. My brain's not working today. I could hide my own Easter eggs, as my mom used to say. And Beth is in Montana. Oh, Kat says, I absolutely loved your video that you posted on Reese and Oprah with Mindy Kaling. Yeah, I loved her outlook on her connection with her mother, and I loved the whole thing, but that brought me to tears. I know. And she says, thanks for sharing that. I know. I started crying too. It was so moving. If you guys don't know what I'm talking about, I posted a video. It was from Oprah's Super Soul Sunday series, which I love. And because I love that she's asking the cosmic questions. You don't really, you know, hear a lot of talk about those kind of things these days. And so I was just watching it, and then suddenly Oprah asked Mindy Kaling about the death of her mom, and shared a story, and it blew my mind. I mean, basically within an hour of her mother dying, she found out that her series got picked up by Fox, the Mindy Project. And Oprah was talking about how she really feels that that's her mom, you know, making it happen, you know, and she's an angel now. That's right, Oklahoma. I knew that. And then Mindy went on to talk about how she's had visitation dreams, you know, and I think those are real things. And so I want to know if have you guys ever had any visitation dreams after somebody that you love died? I had a ton of them with my mom. Well, a ton. I had 4. I had 4 of them. And the thing is, people who don't want to think that it's a real thing say, well, you were asleep though, right? So it wasn't real because you were dreaming. You were asleep, right? But I feel like those visitation dreams, you remember every detail and every word spoken. Whereas other dreams, I've had dreams that my mom's been in it. Like I just had a dream a couple days ago, not a couple nights ago, and my mom was in it, but it wasn't like a visitation dream. It was just like, oh, mom and I are working on a project together or something. I don't know. It just didn't seem like the visitation dream. And you just remember all of the details, and it feels real. And you know, and I thought I was going crazy because it felt so real and more real than any other dreams before. And so I was Googling and researching and trying to figure out, like, am I going crazy, you know? And I believe it's real. It doesn't hurt anybody. It doesn't cost anything for me to believe it, but I do believe it's real. And so did Mindy. And she's had a few dreams about her mom. Dawn says, I know that my fiance is still around. There are many signs and things that happen beyond coincidences. Dawn, I would love to hear some of your examples. Because when I was experiencing, kind of after death signs, I thought I was going crazy. So I had to Google and figure out, and I realized, and then talk to my friends and talk to other people who've lost loved ones. And it's happened to every single one of them. And so I think if this is so common, why don't people talk about it? And I think it's because people think that you're crazy. But people have always thought I was crazy. So if they think I'm more crazy, it doesn't really matter to me. It doesn't really bother me. But yeah, Kat says, I believe it's real. So do I. I believe it's real. And those visitation dreams, I found so much comfort in. And in the research that I've done, the dreams almost always are for the purpose of the departed loved one to come and say that they're okay. I'm all right. I'm okay. And I remember I had a really intense dream. I think it was probably 4 or 5 days after my mom died, and I was cleaning out her condo in Chicago, staying there, and I had a really vivid dream that I was laying out by a swimming pool, and I just had my feet over the edge of the swimming pool, but I was, sitting on the edge, kind of like laying back, feeling the sun on my face, and then I felt, somebody grab my ankles. And I looked up, and it was my mom, and she just was beaming at me, and she just went, I'm fine. I'm fine. And then and it felt so real, and then I woke up and I just thought, well, that's good for you, lady. I'm glad you're chilling on a cloud, with all the angels, having a cocktail, playing the harp, but I'm stuck here on earth in pain. Yeah, I was mad. I was mad at her when I woke up, but I love that dream, and I love that she said that she was okay. And I also read that sometimes a lot of the visitation dreams are in transportation hubs, whether it's a train station or an airport, or you're on a boat going somewhere. It's kind of like somewhere where you're in transit. And a friend of mine whose mom was dying was telling me that she had a dream that she was trying to help her mom pack for a trip, and her dad was there because her dad had passed away before then. And so I thought that was really profound, but it kind of makes sense because, if you believe our souls are in this physical body and it transitions, it moves on, it travels to another place, it kind of makes sense that you'd be in a train station or whatever. And I had another very vivid visitation dream of my mom and I in Victoria Station in London, of all things. And I was running to catch a train and saw her, and she was she looked like she was in her 70s finery, Oh, look, and the sun's coming in as we're talking about this. What's going on? How cute is that? Dawn says, the day I picked up his ashes, my check engine light went off, had been on for 2 years. Tried to turn a strand of hair blue, 4 of us. Mine went green, his favorite color. That's funny. Songs play when I need them. I know, songs come on all the time. What is happening with the crazy rays? Isn't that crazy? Oh my goodness, that's beautiful. But I'm gonna go ahead and turn it off because it's a little distracting. But, oh, someone's angry? Are you angry that oh, there we go. But it was so fun. Here, I'll summon the power of angels. It's coming up right now. Oh, okay, that's all I'm going to summon for you. Yes, Dawn says our family is here. And Kat says, I talk to my mom in the car all the time. I know, and that's another thing that was so great that Mindy Kaling had mentioned in the Super Soul Sunday video was that she was surprised, and I know I was. Weren't you guys surprised at how your relationship with your departed loved one carries on? It continues, but it's just in a different way, I talk to my loved ones all the time, but not in a mentally ill way, just in a, you know what, they've been part of your life every day. Your fiance is part of your life. You know, you see them every day and interact every day, and to just stop it and have it be completely abrupt and to never talk about that person, to never talk to that person, it's too much. It's too intense. I think it's healthy to talk to your loved ones. And I believe that they hear us. I really believe that they hear us. And that's comforting. It's hard to think that that's it, you know? And I hope you guys are following. She's amazing. Her name's Claire Bidwell Smith. And she is just the sweetest person, and she's a friend, and she's written 2 amazing books on grief. She lost both of her parents before she was basically, I think she lost both of her parents in her 20s, so she was so young. And now she's the mother of 2, and she's a therapist, and has written amazing books about grief, and she's got an amazing book coming out. So her name is Claire Bidwell Smith. But she posted today where she accidentally broke a bowl of her parents. And that bowl had been, you know, through her first marriage. And when she met her now future husband and fiance, she served dinner for the first dinner that she cooked for him when he was over at her place. She served it in a bowl. And you guys know, if you've lost someone, how sentimental those little things are, you know. And it broke on accident, and obviously, and it was just in shards, and she was so devastated, and she's, you know, like talking about, you know, it's unbearable to think that I'm never going to see her. Am I going to see her again? You know, I want to think that, I want to believe that I will. And I think we will, you know, but I mean, I could be wrong. I'm open if anyone gives me proof, you know, but I always say, you know, when my friends thought that I was going crazy after saying that I, you know, felt signs and, you know, had visitations and went to mediums and they came through and things like that because they think it's a little too woo-woo. I'm just like, well, prove that it's not true. You know, you're asking me to prove that it's true. You prove that it's not true, you know, and it's free and it doesn't hurt anybody and it's comforting. And I feel it's healthy. I feel it's good to have a healthy relationship, you know, kind of continue with your loved ones, and to remember that they still live through you and all that you do. And, you know, when I'm a good friend to someone now, I know that's, you know, part of my mom coming through, and she was such a good friend to so many of her, you know, soul sisters that I feel like she lived by example, you know. She was a really good friend and was always there. And man, at her life celebrations, everybody was coming up to me telling me, you know, about that. And it just made me think of something too, you know, and this is in the speech that I did that's on the YouTube channel, is, you know, nobody came up to me at my mom's life celebration and said, oh, your mom was the best woman to work for and to work with, but she was fat. You know what I mean? Like, my mom was overweight and my mom hated herself. And when she died, not one single person at the funerals, you know, or her life celebrations mentioned her weight. And so we've got to get outside of our heads here on earth and be happy with the bodies that we have instead of being so critical, because it doesn't matter in the end. It's how, you know, it's like Maya Angelou said, it's how you make people feel. Dawn says, this is crazy for some, but I had Charles's ashes mixed in the ink of a tattoo of his name. I joke, he got under my skin alive. Why should it change now? I don't think that's crazy. That's one of the things that we talk about in our Good to Go parties and workshops, is all the different things you can do with cremains. And Dawn, you are the first person that I've talked to that's had it done. And I think that that's amazing. You can have the ashes put into tattoo ink and you can have a tattoo. I'm curious as to what you got. What kind of tattoo did you get? Did you get something that was just meaningful for you? Or was it something that you felt symbolized your fiance, symbolized Charles? I would love to know what your tattoo is. Have anybody else gotten kind of, they're called memorial tattoos? I was thinking about getting a tattoo after my mom died of a hummingbird, because I really feel like she comes to me in hummingbirds, you know. And I was thinking about her I think it was yesterday. Yeah, it was yesterday. Oh my gosh, my brain. And I was actually walking under this beautifully blooming, springy pink blossom tree. I don't even know what kind of tree it was, but it always blooms in the spring and it's gorgeous. And I had to go over and just like look at it, and I wanted to see if it smelled, because when you walk around in spring in LA, you can smell like jasmine, and oh, it's so amazing. And all I could hear, it was deafening, all of the hummingbirds. And so I posted a little video of it on Instagram and I shared it on Facebook. It was like a hummingbird convention, and I had been thinking of her, you know, all that morning. So I love that. Don says you had Charles's name and a pumpkin because we loved Halloween. Oh my gosh, that's adorable. I love that little pumpkin, and that's out of his cremains. That's beautiful, and he's with you. A friend of mine, I got really emotional when I was talking to him. He got a tattoo of his mom, for symbolizing for his mom and for his sister on his arms. And so he said, you know, so when I'm laying on my deathbed, I can look down and they can be with me. Oh, and I was like, that's beautiful. And it makes me glad that I didn't get like a tramp stamp or something for my mom in honor of my mom on my deathbed. But I'm like, no, I want to look at it. No. But anyway, so April 16th, I'm going to wrap up here. It was so lovely to talk to you and to see you, Dawn. I feel like you're new, and it's good to see Kat, who always tunes in when she can. I appreciate it so much, and I love hearing all of your stories. And I love, Dawn, that you got a tattoo, and I'm going to use that in future parties and workshops and consultations and let people know and say, you know, there was a woman on my Facebook page that shared that she had a pumpkin with her fiance's name in it, you know, because they loved Halloween. I love that. Oh, he was a tattoo artist. Oh my gosh, even better. His previous boss did the tattoo and we cried together. It was beautiful. Oh, I bet that meant so much. I love that. So if you don't mind me asking, did you talk about it? Or was it something that you decided to do after he died? Because had you heard of it before? I'm just wondering if like any kind of advanced planning thing was happening. And then Kat says, I have a necklace with my mom's cremains. Yeah, you can get them. You can get cremains made into jewelry. You can, I mean, I've said it before, LifeWear out of Santa Fe, New Mexico. They can put your loved one's ashes into a coffee mug. And, you know, my mom was a big coffee drinker. I love that idea. Some people think it's the creepiest, grossest thing in the world, but I loved it. I thought it was a fantastic idea. But I mean, I can see why some people might think it's weird, but you know, I don't think it's weird at all. And then, you know, some of the jewelry I've seen has been so beautiful, and you can't even tell that it's, you know, human remains or ashes. It just looks like a beautiful night sky or like a galaxy. You can also, if you are artistically minded, you can get ashes made into paint. I think I did a video on this. I can't remember. Like I said, I can hide my own Easter eggs. I'm sorry, you guys. This is such a professional operation, isn't it? I'm going to get it together. I am. I'm going to get it together sooner or later. But April 16th, National Healthcare Decisions Day. I encourage everybody to talk to their peeps about their advanced planning and to let them know that April's coming up, and maybe, you know, that might be a good in for if your parents are still around, or if you've got siblings, or if you're in a relationship, you want to get your partner, maybe your partner's family together in April and say, look, this is a good excuse for us to get our advanced planning done. And if you guys go to the Good to Go website, which is goodtogopeace.org, you can order a departure file off of there. And I was thinking about maybe in honor of National Healthcare Decisions Day, going live and just having kind of like a Q&A, like if you guys have any questions about the paperwork. I mean, it's cheaper than buying a consultation, you know, so I'm more than happy to kind of, you know, answer any questions anybody has, and you know, talk about some of the things like getting your ashes made into tattoo ink or into a painting. You can also be in a tree, you know. Oh yes, we discussed it. Good. My children are to get diamonds made from your ashes. Oh, I love that. I love that. And I love that you've thought about it, and that you've put it on the internet, on a Facebook comment, you know. It's so important to let people know what you want. And the diamonds, you can't even tell that they're made from ashes. It's unbelievable. You can even get them put, your ashes put into a record, like an LP, like an album, like this 45, only bigger. It's really expensive, but it's a company outside of England that's called Vinylly Yours, and or it's called And Vinylly, I think. And yeah, there's all kinds of things you can do with your ashes. And I love the idea of, you know, putting them in those little kind of pods, those like tree pods too. That's a lovely idea. But even if you don't do anything with your loved one's cremains, I think it's really lovely to, you know, plant something in that person's honor, and you know, think of them whenever you're outside watering the garden, if you're lucky enough to have a garden. I do not have a garden. But I gave a little bit of my dad's ashes to my best friend, who and she loved my dad too. She was like a second daughter to him. And she kind of sprinkled it outside in her little garden and a little bit outside her daughter's window, which I love because, you know, he loved her too. So yeah, there's all kinds of things you can do that has meaning, and you know, it's important to talk about it. But anyway, I'm going to wrap up. It was lovely to see you guys. I'm definitely going to be back live next Wednesday, hopefully with a less fuzzy brain. I literally today, I don't even know what happened. I feel like maybe watching the Olympics, I had some kind of weird Olympic head injury when I wasn't paying attention. I don't even know, like watching all those like skateboarders, you know, suddenly get on snowboard and skis and do all those flips and jumps, and, you know, so maybe it was that. I don't know. But next week I will be a little more perky and laser focused. And it was great to be with you, Dawn. It's so good to see you and to meet you and to hear from you. And all you grievers and groovers out there, I'm sending you a huge hug if you're grieving right now, and you're going to get through it. And even if you've lost someone, you know, 5 years ago, 10 years ago, you know, love is eternal, and our loved ones are still with us. I really do believe it. And I love talking about all the signs that you guys pick up on, and the music, songs on the radio. I always joke that my parents are playing Cosmic DJ whenever. Just the other night, really quickly before I go, I was watching Austin City Limits music show because I love the music. And Jason Isbell was on there with his wife, and his wife was singing a song. And for some reason, I started thinking about Dad. And I think I even said something out loud, like, Dad, you'd think that was funny, or something like that. And then the woman in his band was singing the lyric, and the lyric said, and you'll think that this is a sign because, or something about this is going to be a sign. And then my Christmas lights went out. What? Because I put Christmas lights up in my place all year round, because why not? And the Christmas lights went out, and then they came back on. So of course, the sign on the song that happened and the Christmas lights at the same time. Come on. Anyway, Kat says, see you next week. Get some rest. I know. What am I thinking? Anyway, I'm going to go watch Big Brother and head to bed. I can't wait to see you next week. Well, I can't wait to see you guys next week. So take care. I will talk to you soon, and I'm sending you guys a big hug. All right. Love you guys. See you later. Bye.